Yo, what's good, Laker Nation? Listen, I need every single one of you to sit down right now. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're at work. I don't care if you're cooking dinner. I don't care if you're about to fall asleep. Drop everything. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to change the way you look at LeBron James, the Los Angeles Lakers, and honestly, the entire NBA. I was watching First Take this morning, and what happened on that show was unlike anything I have ever seen in my 20+ years of watching sports television. I am still shaking. My hands are literally trembling as I'm recording this. This is not clickbait. This is not exaggeration. This is history, and you need to hear every single word. So here's the context. It's May 14th, 2026. The Lakers just got swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference semifinals. 4 games. Done. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 35 points in that final game. Chet Holmgren hit that dagger dunk with 32.8 seconds left. And LeBron's driving bank shot with 20 seconds remaining just didn't fall. Final score, 115-110. The Lakers went 0-8 against the Thunder this entire season. Hey, what's up everyone? Real quick before we get into everything, that like button is literally what determines if this reaches hundreds or thousands of fans. Takes 1 second, but makes a huge impact on the channel's growth. Just smash that like button right now. It's the easiest thing you can do, but honestly, the biggest way to support this content, every single like pushes this further, so hit it now. Regular season and playoffs combined, not a single win, and to make things worse, Luka Doncic, the guy they traded everything for, the man who averaged 33, 5 points per game this season, leading the entire NBA in scoring, was sitting on the bench in a black sweatsuit because of a grade 2 hamstring strain he suffered on April 2nd against OKC. The MRI in Dallas originally showed a standard grade 2 strain, but when Luka flew to Spain for specialized treatment, the doctors discovered the injury was deeper and more severe than anyone originally believed. The real timeline was 8 weeks, not 4 to 6. He never had a chance to come back. Austin Reeves missed the first 4 games of the first round too with an oblique injury, so LeBron, at 41 years old in his record-setting 23rd NBA season, had to carry this team on his back one more time, and he did. He averaged 23.2 points, 7.3 assists, 6.7 rebounds, and 1.3 steals per game in the playoffs. He led the Lakers to an upset over the Houston Rockets in 6 games in the first round, looking like a man 10 years younger. But against the Thunder, the defending champions, it just wasn't enough. Not without Luka. Not with this roster. Now Stephen A. Smith gets on First Take that same day, May 14th, and he drops a bomb. He looks into the camera and says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the Lakers don't particularly like LeBron James. He said it's about clutch sports, Rich Paul, and the way LeBron has been controlling narratives for years. He said the Russell Westbrook trade disaster still lingers in the building because the front office felt like LeBron pushed for it and then never accepted accountability when it failed. He said there's been tension between LeBron and the organization all season long, and you know what? There's evidence. Remember when Rob Pelinka gave the game ball to JJ Redick for his 100th coaching win instead of recognizing LeBron passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most combined wins in NBA history? Sources close to LeBron said that moment deeply bothered him. Then Jeannie Buss, the Lakers governor, gets caught at the airport and someone asks her if LeBron deserves a statue outside Crypto.com arena. She literally laughed, and then said they don't talk about statues until someone retires. She never once said he deserved one. Former Lakers guard Byron Scott even said publicly that LeBron needs another championship before a statue conversation even makes sense. 1 championship in 6-7 years, that's what Scott said. After everything LeBron has given this franchise. So that was the setup. The entire sports world was buzzing. LeBron had already told reporters after Game 4 that he doesn't know what the future holds. He said he needs to recalibrate, look over the season, spend time with his family, talk to his 12-year-old daughter, check in with his 19-year-old son who's entering his 2nd year at Arizona, and have conversations with his wife, Savannah. He talked about whether he can still commit to the process of showing up to the arena 5.5 hours before every game, preparing his body, giving everything he's got, diving for loose balls. He said the love of the game is always there, but the question is whether he can still commit to the daily grind. This is a man who earned $52.6 million this season, the highest salary on the team, and he's about to become an unrestricted free agent for the first time since 2018. Now here's where it gets insane. LeBron was scheduled for a routine post-game wrap-up appearance on ESPN. Standard stuff. Talk about the series, the season, what went right, what went wrong. Malika Andrews was conducting the interview on NBA Today, and it started normal enough. She asked about the Houston Rockets series, how he managed to lead the team without Luka and without Reeves for those first 4 games. LeBron gave measured answers. He talked about his conditioning, his preparation, the way the coaching staff adjusted. Everything was professional, everything was controlled. But then Malika brought up Stephen A. Smith's comments. She asked LeBron directly if he felt the Lakers organization appreciated what he's done, and that's when everything changed. I literally had to rewind my TV 3 times because I could not believe what I was hearing. LeBron's entire demeanor shifted, his jaw tightened, his eyes got narrow, he leaned forward in his chair, and you could feel the temperature in the room drop 10 degrees. "Let me address something right now," LeBron said. "I've been hearing a lot of noise coming from a lot of people who have never laced up sneakers at this level." Stephen A. Smith sat on national television yesterday and said the Lakers don't particularly like me. He talked about clutch sports. He talked about narratives. Let me tell you something about narratives. I came to this franchise in 2018. This organization hadn't made the playoffs in 6 straight years before I arrived. 6. I brought them a championship in 2020. I brought them relevance. I brought them back into the national conversation. And now, after everything I've given, after 8 years of my body and my soul poured into the purple and gold, I'm sitting here listening to people in air-conditioned studios telling the world that this franchise doesn't like me, that my time has passed, that the era of LeBron needs to end so they can rebuild around someone else. The studio went absolutely silent. Malika Andrews' eyes went wide. Tim Legler, who was on the panel, literally pushed his chair back from the desk. Bobby Marks had his hand over his mouth. Nobody expected this. Nobody. LeBron James, the most composed athlete in the history of professional sports, was breaking character right in front of millions of viewers. "You want to know what really bothers me?" LeBron continued. "It's not Stephen A. It's not the media. It's the fact that I gave this organization a chance to build something special, and at every turn there were decisions made that set us back. You remember the Russell Westbrook trade? Everybody wants to blame me for that. But let me ask you this, who made the final call? Who signed off on the paperwork? Who had the final authority to make that deal happen? Not me. I'm a player. I gave my input, just like every superstar in this league does, but the front office made that decision. And when it blew up, suddenly it was all on LeBron. The narrative machine started working overtime, and the people inside the building, the people who are supposed to have my back, they let that story take hold because it was easier to blame me than to look in the mirror. I almost fell off my chair, bro. LeBron was going in. He wasn't holding back anymore. 23 years of diplomacy, 23 years of carefully chosen words, 23 years of protecting the brand, and it was all coming undone right there on live television. And let me talk about this season specifically, LeBron said. We won 53 games, 53. That's the most this franchise has won since Phil Jackson's last season in 2010-11. We did that with Luka going down in early April. We did that with Austin missing significant time. We did that with me accepting a role as the 3rd option for the first time in my career. You think that was easy? You think it was easy for me at 41 years old, after averaging 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds this season, to step back and let younger guys take the spotlight? I did it because I believed in this team. I did it because JJ Redick asked me to, and I trusted the process. And what did I get in return? Rob Pelinka gave the game ball to JJ instead of me when I set the record for most combined wins in NBA history. Jeannie Buss laughed when someone asked if I deserved a statue. Laughed after a championship. After breaking Kareem's scoring record in a Lakers jersey. After 8 years of everything I have, the interview went to commercial. I thought for sure when they came back that someone had pulled LeBron aside, that maybe Rich Paul had called him, that maybe someone from the Lakers organization had texted him to calm down. I thought we'd see the composed, measured, diplomatic LeBron we've always known. Maybe he'd walk it back, maybe he'd soften the tone. But no, when they came back from break, he was even more fired up. He had his elbows on his knees, leaning forward, and you could see in his eyes that he had made a decision. He was done pretending. I want to address my teammates, LeBron said. Because there are guys on this roster who I went to war with and I respect. Rui Hachimura showed up in the playoffs, 25 points in the closeout game. He completed that 4-point play that almost changed the entire series. Marcus Smart hit that and one layup that gave us the lead in the final minute of Game 4. Those guys fought, but I'm gonna be honest with you. This roster, as it's currently constructed, is not a championship roster. DeAndre Ayton averaged 12.5 points and 8 rebounds during the regular season. He started all 72 games he played, but in the biggest moments of the biggest games, he disappeared. His energy was inconsistent. You can't have your starting center giving you that kind of inconsistency in the playoffs when you're going up against a team with Chet Holmgren who dunked on us with 32 seconds left in an elimination game. I respect Ayton as a man, but as a basketball player on a team trying to win a championship, I need more. We all need more. And the front office knows this, LeBron continued. Rob Pelinka stood up at his press conference on May 12th and talked about wanting to honor my process. He talked about adding 2 assistant GMs. He talked about building biomechanics labs and recovery labs at the practice facility. That's great. That's wonderful. But what about the roster? What about putting actual championship caliber players around Luka Doncic so that when he comes back healthy, he's not carrying the same burden I carried for years? Pelinka said they have optionality this offseason with free agency, trades, and the draft. They have the 25th pick. Optionality. That word tells you everything. They're still figuring it out. After 8 years with me, after trading for Luka, after selling the franchise for $10 billion to Mark Walter, they're still figuring it out. I look at what the Thunder have built, LeBron said, and his voice cracked slightly. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell, who dropped 28 points on us in Game 4, Alex Caruso, who I used to play with and who hit us with back-to-back threes in that second quarter. They went 8-0 in the playoffs before facing us. They're the defending champions, and they haven't even hit their peak yet. That's what championship building looks like. That's what a front office with a vision looks like. And I'm sitting here, in the twilight of my career, watching it happen from the other side of the court. So let me say this clearly, LeBron said, and he looked directly into the camera. I love the city of Los Angeles. I love the Lakers fans. The fans have never been the problem. You showed up every single night. You packed the Crypto.com arena. Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Eddie Murphy were all courtside for Game 4 because they believed in what we were building. But there are things happening behind the scenes that the fans don't see. There are conversations being had about my future that I'm not part of. And I refuse at this stage of my life and my career to sit quietly while people on television dismantle my legacy and people inside the building allow it to happen. I've talked about the process, LeBron said, his voice getting quieter now, more emotional. About whether I can commit to showing up 5.5 hours early, to the preparation, to the grind. And the truth is, the love for the game has never left. At 41 years old, I averaged over 20 points a game. I led this team to the second round without our best player. I can still do this. The question isn't whether I can play. The question is whether the people around me, the front office, the ownership, are willing to match my commitment, because I've been matching theirs for 8 years, and honestly, the scales aren't balanced. My family is going to be a big part of this decision, LeBron said. Bronny is entering his 2nd year at Arizona. My daughter needs her father present. My wife Savannah has sacrificed more than anyone will ever know, but I also know this. If I walk away right now, it won't be because my body gave out. It won't be because I couldn't compete anymore. It will be because the people who were supposed to build around me chose to move on before I was ready, and that's something I will never accept quietly. So here's my message to the Lakers, to the media, to Stephen A. Smith, and to everyone watching, LeBron said, standing up from his chair. I am not done. I don't know where I'll be next season. I don't know if it'll be in purple and gold or in another city, or if I'll be sitting at home watching the game with my kids. But whatever I decide, it will be on my terms, not on the media's terms, not on the front office's terms, not on Stephen A's terms. Mine. The king decides when the reign ends, nobody else. And then he walked off set. Just like that, Malika Andrews sat there in stunned silence for what felt like an eternity. Tim Legler finally broke the silence and said something like, "This is the most raw and honest we've ever seen LeBron James in his entire career." Now let me give you my analysis, because my head is spinning right now. What we just witnessed was not just a press conference moment or a hot take. This was the culmination of 8 years of frustration boiling over. Let's look at the facts. LeBron came to a franchise that hadn't made the playoffs in 6 years. He brought them a championship in the bubble in 2020. He became the NBA's all-time leading scorer while wearing a Lakers jersey. This season alone, the team won 53 games, their best record since 2010-11. He accepted a diminished role as the third option behind Luka and Reeves. He averaged 20.9 points, 7.2 assists, and 6.1 rebounds at age 41. And when Luka went down and Reeves was hurt, he stepped up and averaged 23.2 points in the playoffs, leading the team past Houston. And what has he gotten in return? A game ball given to the coach instead of him, an owner who laughed at the idea of his statue, a front office that Stephen A. Smith says doesn't like him, a media narrative that his era needs to end, a roster that wasn't good enough to get past the first real test without Luka.